There's some deer. Good morning. In my last video, I was talking about evaluating alternatives and testing sources of ideas. So let's talk about the origins of the universe, which is the largest making event of all time. If you boil down all the ideas to the simplest basic concept, you end up with two alternatives. Either, in the beginning, no thing exploded and became everything, or, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. No matter what else you believe, ultimately the foundation of your beliefs lie in one of these two 10-word statements. Firstly, let's recognize that both views believe that existence has a beginning. This is a fundamental truth of the finite universe. Just before the beginning, finite existence consisted of nothing. And I mean absolutely no thing. No matter, no energy, no information, no mind, no motive, no meaning, no space or location, and no time. While for the atheist there was absolutely nothing, the theist maintains that there was absolutely nothing besides God. This is the dividing difference, and from here on, the two views have a starkly different foundation. There is very little to say about nothing, as it is simply no thing. That view clearly lacks substance at this point. But on the other hand, what can we deduce about this being God at this point in the sentence? The thing that stands out is this being is pre-existent. It is hard to emphasize the significance of this enough, because the very nature of being the only existent being makes it possible for us to deduce many necessary characteristics. Firstly, existing prior to time means that being is timeless or eternal, or ever in the state of now. Next, considering that this being is the only existent thing, then any metric of any characteristic possessed must logically be infinite. For there to be any limit would require a beyond or a concept of more, and that logically is only possible if there is a form of existence other than the being. So, as we find attributes for this God, we can know with confidence that those attributes are limitless. Closely related to this is that it is necessary for this pre-existent infinite being, or God, to be good. Because evil is a lack, or a loss, or destruction and corruption. Evil is logically impossible for an eternal, infinite, pre-existent being. One fundamental property of the infinite is that it cannot increase or decrease. Therefore, there is logically only one limit on an infinite being, and that is that it cannot grow. Unless... But we'll get to that later. So, at this point we have nothing versus an eternal, infinite, pre-existent, perfect being, God. Now, that doesn't really sound like much of a contest, but it gets better. The next two words in both statements are mind-blowing and really set the stage. Exploded versus created. Nothing exploded? Are you serious? I really don't know how to say anything logical about this, other than to say to believe this would be the biggest leap of blind faith imaginable. We are talking about no thing, no mass, no energy, no cause, no source, no informational input, no reason, nothing. Exploded? On the other hand, an eternal, infinite, pre-existent being, God, created. What's so mind-blowing about that? He is infinite, so why not? Well, hang on a moment. Let's think this through. This concept raises its own challenges. Firstly, whether it is a single atom or the entire universe made absolutely no difference at all. Because no matter how vast the creation on any metric, it was still infinitely small compared to an infinite being. So it is not the magnitude of creating a universe out of nothing material that is the mind-blowing concept. Prior to this point, there was nothing other than God. So to create anything, be it a single atom or the entire universe, was a radical step, because it meant there would be something other than God. Think about that for a moment. This was first and foremostly the creation of otherness. The implications of otherness is what the rest of the Bible hinges around. The next challenge is location. As an infinite pre-existent being, where do you put something you create? You can't put it beside you or beyond you, because those concepts cannot exist. The only place you can put it is inside you. The only way you can do that is to restrict or limit yourself from a space to allow that otherness to exist in your midst. At this point, there are so many things we can know about God and his creation just from the implications of these concepts that many books could be written. But we haven't finished the verse yet. So what comes next? Exploded and became everything versus created the heavens and the earth. Controlled explosions that achieve desired outcomes are a very technical science. The idea that an explosion could ultimately create the intricacies, order, and beauty we see in existence frankly beggars belief. As for an uncontrolled, unplanned explosion of nothing becoming everything, well, that's simply beyond possibility of belief. So I think we may as well abandon that idea right here. When it comes to an eternal, infinite, pre-existent being creating the heavens and the earth, well, what is there to logically doubt? As we know already, there is no characteristic that he possesses that is possible for him to have any lack. So there can be no possible doubt of the ableness of God. So really, we must now be beyond reasonable doubt, and rather we just need to look to see what else this reveals about him and his creation. I would argue that the character of God is characterized by the beginning and the end, hence him claiming to be the Alpha and the Omega. Without an accurate perspective of the origin and destiny, it is impossible to have a good perspective of God, his creation, including us, and our relationship to him. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We probably all know that this is the first verse of the Bible, but have we really thought through its potential foundational importance and logical implications? Why does it matter? I would contend that without origin and destiny, all is meaningless. Genesis 1:1 is often read as though it is a summary of the following two chapters. I want to develop the idea that it is far more than that. It is the fundamental statement that the rest of the Bible and the biblical worldview is based upon. It is, in fact, if it is fact, then it contains enough truth that we can deduce a huge percentage of the nature of reality from this one sentence, and the rest of the Bible elaborates on it. Could it be that anything we can logically deduce from this one verse will be otherwise expressed elsewhere in the Bible? To test this, I want to explore the logical implications of this statement and the alternative, and the worldviews created. There are only two alternative foundational statements behind what are ultimately only two worldviews. So, which do you choose to believe? I think we'll leave it as that for today. But, yeah, which is the more logical view? And what do you believe?